Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Robert, and today I want to discuss my most recent obsession, and that's Arkham Horror LCG, which is a game that's definitely not new to my collection, but for whatever reason, I really got bit by the Arkham Horror LCG bug, and I've been playing it obsessively lately. So I'm gonna discuss what scenarios and campaigns I've been playing. I'm also gonna discuss my most recent acquisitions, and I'm gonna discuss sleeving, storage, organizing, and also enhancements for the game. And I'll also briefly discuss the most recent announcement about the future of the game and the new release model. So yeah, originally what was gonna be just a small interlude in between other games from my shelf of shame that I want to cover in the channel actually turned into a couple of week long deep dive into the game. Okay, as you all know, if you've seen my if you've seen my top solo board games list, this ranks really high. Okay, in the top 10. But I rank it before the other two LCGs. Now this year, this might change. Okay, because man, I've just been enjoying this way too much this past couple weeks. I've added a bunch of plays. So I made a similar video a couple years ago where I talked about my collection and whatnot. So before I started playing, the only things that I had in my collection was, couple core sets, Dunwich Cycle and Edge of the Earth, plus Investigator decks and a few standalones. So since I've acquired the Path to Carcosa cycle and also the Forgotten Age cycle and Circle Undone. So I'm still waiting for some of those things to get in the mail, especially the campaign expansions that are a bit delayed. But yeah, I definitely, with how much I've been enjoying this, I want to have the option of playing those campaigns before they run out of print, okay? I also acquired a couple new standalones, so which is one of my favorite types of products, just because of how easy they are to bring out and play for a few quick games. So I have the Blob that ate everything and the War of the Outer Gods. And I've been looking everywhere for a copy of Carnival of Horrors, but I've not had luck finding one. But yeah, that's the other standalone that I'm really looking forward to playing at some point. I also acquired a new revised set. So I got a few of the original core sets on discount just because I wanted extra copies of the cards and even some extra copies of the encounter cards. Okay. So in total, I had four original core sets that I got really cheap. That's how my collection started originally. But I acquired a copy of the revised core set because I wanted to have enough copies of the core set cards to have these pick up and play decks. These decks are the original 5 investigators, and the list that they use is the structured deck series from the Arkham Horror DB website, and it's pretty famous. They basically recommend you decks that you can build, basically the best decks that you can build from a couple core sets or the revised core set. Okay, and I really like how simple the original investigators are. So if I want to play a standalone scenario or a Night of the Salad run, I can just pick up one of these decks and they're the best they can be without proxying. Okay, I did get unused a copy of the revised set just because I didn't need it to be perfect. That's how I saved a bit on that. But yeah, basically for all my core set content, I ended up paying only like $50 for six core sets worth. One revised and four original core sets for about $50 to $60. That's what I paid for that. I would say that's worth it. I got it all on the discount, so that was great. But yeah, I love having these ready to go decks from the original investigators with their upgrade paths and everything next to them. Okay, and as I also showed in my last Arkham Horror video, I also have my ready to go starter investigator decks if I don't feel like deck constructing. Okay. I also got a few extra perks with the new revised core set, and that's the new bag, and also the lead investigator token, as well as these 5 value tokens, okay, which I wanted. So definitely worth it, okay. I love having those decks and the extra goodies from the revised core set, as well as some extra cards that they included that were not in the originals, okay. So it's nice to have those. But another thing that I added to my collection, apart from official content, I added some new fan-made content. I printed an entire fan-made campaign, which I made manually, okay? just proxying with some penny sleeves and some magic cards. Okay, so that's quick. And I actually played through it, which I'll discuss later. Okay, but yeah, I added this campaign while waiting for my other official campaigns to arrive in the mail. And I also printed a couple extra fan-made scenarios, Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Fall of House Usher, which I'm looking forward to try. So that's it as far as new content. And now I want to discuss how I've reorganized certain things and some enhancements I've made for the game. Recently, all of my investigator cards used to fit in the Edge of the Earth box, but that's not the case anymore. So, what I did was I took this box, which is a graphics card box, by the way. I knew that I would be able to use it one day, and I added some foam core the walls there, and now I have that whole 5-row giant box for me to store investigator cards among other things. Okay, so I've moved all of my investigator cards for deck construction there, and here in the recently acquired revised core set I have all of my ready to go decks. Okay, my 5 original investigator decks. Okay, and these are my burger tokens, which is one of the best enhancements that you can make for the game. If you want to bling it out, I highly recommend these burger tokens. Okay, and I went ahead and organized them in these container, which makes it, it's a piece of cake every time that I need to make a new bag for a campaign. I just pull them out of here. Okay, and once I get all the tokens I need, I put them in the bag. All right, so it's very easy to set up and break down every time I need a new bag for a scenario or a campaign. So I love having this container. I also created this little dashboard in front of me, okay, using a couple of sleeves and a bit of tape and a bit of friction tape. So basically, I just put this in front of me while playing, and now I use this chip. These poker chips, and I blame Chip Theory Games for introducing poker chips to board gaming in such a way, right? So now I keep track of my actions using these tokens, okay? I mostly play solo, but it even works great for playing with 2 investigators, okay? So let's say that you have a mystic and then a survivor, okay? So, you can choose which investigator goes first. You basically put them on top, all right? And then you take their actions 1, 2, and 3. All right, so it works great for keeping track of actions. And then you can choose who goes first by simply stacking their 3 action chips on top. So I really like this system for keeping track of actions. Works really well. All right, and I even have this little container that I wasn't using from a Chip Theory game to store them. All right. So yeah, I've been enjoying a lot, with the tactile experience, using these chips for action. So great enhancement. I also moved my tokens to one of these pill containers. I made a video on this before, so I'll leave a link for how you can remove the letters from one of these pill containers. But yeah, I organize them as you see there. Okay, these are like miscellaneous chips. These are my what I use as investigator. Instead of investigator cards, I use these little cubes. Okay, to move my investigator around the map. But yeah, I moved my all of my tokens here. Well, except the resource tokens. For resource tokens, first I use this die, which I put a little bit of tape there. So that's for 0 resources, goes up to 5, and then I can use the 5 tokens and then go back to 0. So this is how I keep track of resources, and I use these for asset cards, all right? But yeah, so there's a new addition that wasn't in the last videos, this little die that I created for keeping track of resources, 1 for each player. Okay, but yeah, so those are some enhancements that I've made. And also on the organizing side of things, I've transferred all of my investigators to this binder. So this binder was also in my last video. Okay, so here's where I keep all of the campaign, books, and also the rule book, my my player aids. So every time that I play, I just bring this out, pull them out of this little pocket. Okay, but here I decided to put all of my investigators in these binder sheets so that when I want to do deck construction, I just browse the investigators. I didn't like having them, loose in the box. Okay, so this makes it a bit easier for me to browse what investigator I want to pick and deck construct for a campaign or standalone scenario run. And if you remember my last video, one thing that I mentioned was that I printed a bunch of proxies of cards so that every scenario in my Edge of the Earth and Dunwich campaigns were just ready to go, and I didn't have to separate cards. It's great. I'm glad I did it for those, but I'm not gonna do it moving forward. Now that I'm gonna acquire a bunch of new campaigns, it's just too much work, so I've given up on that idea. If you want to put the time towards doing it, I still recommend it. But yeah, with all the new campaigns that I'm going to be acquiring, I'm not going to go through the trouble of doing it for so many campaign boxes. But if you have a more limited collection, it makes sense. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share as far as new acquisitions, reorganizing, enhancing the game. But what have I actually been playing this past few weeks, okay, since this obsession started? It started with a solo play of Symphony of Eric's Son. This is a fan-made scenario game that I printed quite a while ago. I never got around to play it yet. I still have a lot of unplayed content. And I think this might be my favorite scenario yet, okay? This is just dripping with atmosphere, all right? And as it happens, the Symphony of Eric's Son is the only H.P. Lovecraft story that I've read. Okay, which I did around the time that I printed this, and now that I finally got to play it, man, I just really appreciate how cool this scenario is. It's just so thematic, and the way that it uses music as the theme for adversaries and enemies and mechanics. It's just so cool, and yeah, this scenario is just top tier, man, and it's a fan made scenario. But yeah, this is if you have not tried fan made content, you're really missing out. Okay, this is some great stuff. All right, so yeah, this has been my favorite scenario yet that I've played. I then moved on to playing Chorus of the Rougarou a lot, just as an individual scenario. I'm still yet to beat this scenario. It's pretty brutal, but yeah, I played those standalone scenarios just to kind of get my ropes of the game again, because I haven't played it in a while, just to remember the rules and all of that. So I played Night of the Cellar multiple times, solo and two-handed, with different combinations of the investigators with their with their awesome structure deck series deck lists, and I've been having a blast with that. I really enjoy the simple format, okay, and the limited pool for this purpose, okay. I also did a playthrough of Edge of the Earth, okay. I had this campaign sitting for a few years. I had never played it, and I played it with a pretty degenerate Monterey Jack deck. It was a solo playthrough with just a Monterey Jack deck, which I'll put a couple pictures on the screen of what that deck looked like. And I did net deck for that, okay, but I'll show you in a second a campaign that I played without net decking, which went pretty well also. But yeah, I played this Edge of the Earth campaign with a pretty degenerate net deck. To be fair, I kind of combined like 3 different decks I saw, and I made it to the last mission. Okay, I unfortunately didn't make it. I didn't win, but I made it to the last mission, and it went pretty well. And one thing I'll say about this campaign, there's a lot of reading. So you might not like that. I liked it okay. I mean, I can't give it or take it. But it was on the easier side, which I appreciated, okay, because I'm so used to Arkham Horror being so damn difficult. It was nice having a campaign where it wasn't as brutal as the other ones, okay. But yeah, the setup with some of the scenarios might be a bit fiddly, all right, with like the big maps. So there's a lot of reading, a lot of big fiddly scenario setup, but I did enjoy it a lot, okay. And I definitely want to play it again two-handed next time and see how that goes. But yeah, so this was on the easier side, didn't win still, but I still had a blast. So this was a lot of fun. All right, so the other campaign that I played during this past few weeks was the Cyclopean Foundations campaign. This is a fan-made campaign, and as you've seen, I'm a big fan of fan-made content, and I really can't believe how much amazing fan made content there is for this game. And again, if you've not tried any fan made content for Arkham Horror, you really are missing out. In fact, I'm gonna make a standalone video, talking about just fan made content in general. Okay, but I want to go through more content first. Okay, before I do that. But yeah, I went through this campaign and it was wonderful. Okay, it's just so good, so atmospheric, so thematic, with such a variety of scenarios. Okay, I played this campaign solo with a Norman Withers solo deck, and I'm gonna show you a couple pictures of what that deck looked like. And that was absolutely just no deck, no net decking. That was just me looking through my collection. I have, couple core sets, Dunwich, Forgotten Age, and a Path to Carcosa Investigator expansions, plus the starter decks. Okay, so that's my pool of cards, and I made that deck with that pool of cards that I have, and it turned out pretty damn good. Okay, I made it to the second to last scenario, and one thing I'll say about this campaign that's slightly annoying. Okay, the only thing, it really throws a lot of enemies at you. There's tons of fighting or evading that you're gonna have to deal with, but a lot of the enemies, way too many, I would say, have a uh, health value of 3 or more. Okay, there's barely any enemies that are 2 or 1 health value. So I man, like Norman is not a fighter, so I kind of had to acquire experience and deck build so he had more fighting power, because all of these enemies with 3 or more value, man, they really slowed me down. He got a bunch of trauma from dealing with so many enemies. But yeah, just a heads up, if you decide to try this campaign yourself, you're gonna see a lot of 3 health enemies thrown at you. All right, but even then, it went really well. This was a wonderful campaign. I highly recommend it. And I'm really excited to go through this campaign two-handed, okay? Because I really would like to have a bit more flexibility with, a fighter. I really want to bring Nathaniel Cho on my next run through, just to beat into a pulp all of those 3 or more health enemies that gave me a hard time with my Norman Withers run through. But yeah, I'll figure out a team composition later. But yeah, this campaign, folks, just incredible, and I really want to, explore other fan made content and make just a video dedicated to all the amazing fan made content that's out there. Okay, this campaign was exquisite, and can't say enough good things about it. And just to share some final thoughts, folks, one thing that happened this past couple of weeks that I never thought would happen was the fact that I actually quite enjoyed the deck construction here to an extent that I never thought I would. All of the playing on the different campaigns and exploring decks online and strategy. I did share in my last video that I originally, many years ago when I first played this game, I didn't really appreciate how deep it was. So when I pulled this game out again around the time that I made my previous video, I really grasped, wow, this game has so much depth, okay, and you really can sink your teeth here. It's such a great lifestyle game, so I really appreciated the depth of the game. And now, this time with all this round of playthroughs that I've had for the past couple of weeks, the deck construction really has opened up to me. I wouldn't go as far as saying that I enjoy it still as much as I would like deck construction in Magic or Star Wars Destiny, which has my favorite deck construction. But this is miles ahead of that construction in Marvel Champions or Lord of the Rings LCG. And this definitely is going to have an effect on my ratings this year when I rank these games again. Okay, I've just been having way too much fun with this game for the past couple of weeks. It's been incredible. And I've also really come to appreciate the RPG angle that this game has. I originally only saw it as a TCG type game, okay? But this game just really conveys the RPG elements, and it can really give you a rich RPG story like very few games. So next time when I make my top 20, my updated top 20 RPG solo board games, I'm definitely going to have to include this game in some capacity because it's just so good at conveying atmosphere and character and stories. It's just so thematic while also being so deep. And folks, like, I'm just preaching to the choir here. I know that you all, in my channel, you all already know how good Arkham Horror is, the majority of you, but I just have to reiterate it. This game is just so incredible. It's just I can't believe like we really have it good, man. I can't believe such a good game exists. The design work here is just unparalleled. I really can't say enough good things about this game. It's just so good. Now, I also want to discuss the recent announcement of the new release model that they have planned for the future. And I definitely respect where they're coming from, okay, because, even though this is not a competitive game, the power creep and having to account for so many interactions, they do have a pretty good argument. It does still suck though that newcomers for the game might potentially miss out on some amazing old content. And I don't understand if there's any kind of licensing issue because, with Marvel, I understand it a bit more because there's a license element to it that they have to pay for a license if they want to reprint things. But, I don't think that there's a licensing issue with this as far as I'm aware. The reason why everybody uses this HP Lovecraft stuff left and right in board games is because it's public domain as far as I know, right? So there's no licensing that they have to worry about. So why not just reprint old content every now and then? All right. Yeah, I don't know. I really it will make me sad that there's people that are gonna miss out on some of these amazing content that they've created for the past 8 years, 9 years, almost 10 years now. I'm definitely looking forward to see what they create with the new format now that they're gonna be unburdened by having to worry about such a backlog of cards. But I still wish that we could have the best of both worlds and they still reprint it on demand, or maybe just like a Kickstarter or crowdfunded. Like, if you want old content, just crowdfund it. It's just a bit unfortunate that that's a lot of that content is gonna be out of print. I was originally gonna keep my Arkham Horror collection a bit more limited, but with how much I've been enjoying this the past couple of weeks, uh, and with the new announcement of the release model, yeah, I now have a bunch of content in my wish list and cards that I'm gonna start buying slowly over the next few months to make sure that I'm not gonna miss out on anything that might go out of print. So if they wanted people to panic buy to move product, congratulations, because they definitely got me. But yeah, folks, that's all I wanted to discuss today. And look forward to a video in the future where I'm going to discuss fan made content extensively. It's going to take me, a few months probably because I want to play through other essential campaigns like Path to Carcosa or Forgotten Age so that I have a bit more of a frame of reference from official content before I compare it to fan made content. But I'm going to be getting the Alice in Wonderland campaign, the Dark Matters campaign, and a bunch of other standalones that I haven't tried. And I'm gonna make a big video just discussing fan made content because man, I've just been so impressed with the fan made content, like I said. Okay, but I want to thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, go ahead and put them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.